Hello.
Hey, all right. Okay, today's a big day. It's the very first day of our final um preparations and everything to start therapy unlocked. How you feeling?
Excited. Very excited, a little bit
Excited.
anxious.
A little bit anxious? Why are you
But I've
anxious?
actually heard, well, anxiety and excitement, I've heard are actually the same physiologically. So it's how we interpret it that makes a difference in how we feel. So I'm both.
Like with tickling. When someone's being tickled, it's a fear response. And so people are like, "Don't tickle your children." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I like scaring them because they laugh and it's adorable." Tick, 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 tick. Yeah. No, that makes sense completely. Okay, so what I have for Lucky is barking at someone.
Oh,
Oh, darn. I don't even have anything on my camera though. I think it's fine. Okay. So what I was thinking that we would do today for our very first podcast episode is talk a little bit about questions that I can't ask my therapist. And in return, I've asked Katrina to prepare questions that she can't ask her client.
but I'm
So
kind of curious
welcome.
about.
Yeah. Welcome to our inaugural episode. And I'm gonna have Kat do a little disclaimer for you guys. So take it away.
Right. So I am a professional. I want to be clear that I'm not your professional. So nothing that we're about to talk about should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise. And this podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, making fun of us. Whatever gets you to click, comment, subscribe. Um, you know, Maybe you just want to like it because you like us in general and you like giving us money. That's totally cool. But like otherwise, like, no, don't take our advice. Neither of us are that great at actual life. It's
Maybe this is
fine.
the spot to mention I have an utter fear of success, and I'd rather you not comment or subscribe. Don't tell anybody about this.
Okay, so like, listen, we're sisters. So I'm going to go ahead and play on the sibling rivalry here in that I have always wanted to be famous. So don't listen to her. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. No, she's the actual professional. I am not a professional. I have been in therapy for like ever. And I've been her therapist for like more time than she's been a therapist.
So would you say
So
you're
that
like a professional consumer of therapeutic services?
I'm a professional consumer of therapeutic services. What? Yeah. Okay, so I want to start because, again, she's afraid of going viral. And so here are 10 questions that I can't ask my therapist. Side note, obviously, my sister is not my therapist, but she's going to answer as a therapist because I cannot ask my therapist these 10 questions. Uh, Kicking it off at number one. Am I your favorite? Do you have favorites? Why not me?
So do therapists have favorites? I guess it's kind of the general question. Yes
I
and
mean, yeah,
no.
yeah.
Like, you're my favorite sister. Yes, that's true. And I do have clients that, like, if we had not met in a therapeutic setting, we'd totally be hanging out, being friends. But we have that professional relationship, so we have those boundaries. So that's why my favorites.
Okay, but like the real answer though, I mean, like, do you have a favorite? Like, do you ever like? I'm just saying, like, you're looking at your caseload, and like, I realize you can't say. It's just like with my kids, I have 5 kids, and I can't say, oh, that one's my favorite. But depending on the day, I mean, there's one that I would like to go on a car ride with, and then there's another one that like I love more than anything in the world, but I don't want to get in the car at the same time as they are. See how
Maybe
I
it's
did that
just
so
that
carefully.
word. That word favorite has such a loaded connotation with it. When somebody asks you what's your favorite song, what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite book? Well, I have people that I look forward to seeing every week. I have people that I'm sad when they fire me because they've finished their therapeutic journey and they've gone off to do their thing because services are no longer needed.
So valid. That's so valid. Okay. Uh, Kicking it off with number two. Uh, do you ever Google or social media stalk me?
Valid question. I wish I could sometimes.
You don't
Ethically,
ever?
ethically, I cannot. No, it's in our American Counseling Association Code of Ethics. I couldn't quote the page number, but it is in there that we not only can we not be friends, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, none of that. We can't look our clients up because if we did, it might kind of skew our view of them. And we don't need to know all extra online stuff about them that I mean, to be honest, most of the stuff on the internet isn't real anyway. I want to know real person. So I'm going to talk
That
to the person.
makes sense. Makes sense. That would be difficult. I would just really like to see everything. Like I would want to see who we're talking about. How ugly is this man that you're crying over? You know? Okay, so that takes me to my next one, and I guess I already know the answer now, which is, can I send you TikToks, and how many is too many?
One is too many, yes. But
Lame. I feel like I could
there's
just
a
get a lot
gray
of my
area
feelings
there.
out.
There's a gray area there, right? If there's a TikTok that's therapeutically relevant and you bring it up in session, maybe you send it to me before the session so I can see it and we talk about it.
Okay, so the answer she actually gave was one, guys. You can't send your therapist TikToks. You have to just keep it to one. You have to be like, this one is therapeutically relevant. So it either needs to be really funny and they would really like it, or therapeutically relevant. Okay. So question number four is a loaded question, but I have thought this and I have wanted to ask my therapist, but they can't give their opinion. But should politics, I'm going to stick to saying politics, determine if family connections are lost or majorly fractured?
I'm going to mute while I burp.
We could go viral for that burp. Rude.
Should politics determine if family connection are lost and or majorly fractured? Interesting phrasing. Because the only thing that determines connection is lost is the two people that are connected.
Right. So if the connection points, in our current climate, if the main reasoning for the conflict is politics, it boils down to what you would call cultural politics, who you voted for, who you support as a candidate. American politics, maybe specifically, but we do have an international audience. But that said, should politics be a reason that you cut off a family member or majorly fractured? I mean, in general, maybe you block them on social media, you stop giving them regular updates, you don't have a lot of conversations with them. As a hot topic of now, do you as a therapist think that that is a strong enough reason?
Enough of a reason is very personal. So I think if it's enough of a reason for the individual, then yeah.
Valid. Valid.
But if a connection is lost, that connection doesn't have to be lost forever. Like nothing has to be forever or never or always. The black and white is something I try to stray away from. So like the connection being lost forever, if you cut a family member off for 4 years, that's not the end of the world. You'll see them again in 5. If you cut a friend off for 6 months and then they come back into your life, and it's not even cutting off. Like I have friends that I won't talk to just because life happens. And then all of a sudden we reconnect and it's like we pick up like we just talked yesterday and we can carry on about everything.
And that's that love connection. That's that hopefully bond that you have with your family members. So it's a really valid point that 4 years is not infinite. It's not forever. Hey, I'll catch you next cycle. Not a bad way to do that. Okay. So, bringing it in with number 5, do you ever secretly hate your clients?
I've never worked with anyone I hated. I can honestly, to the God I don't believe in, say that. I've never hated anyone.
So is that just on the vernacular of hate, like being a really strong word? Or would you say that you have had clients that you're just, they irk you? You can't stand them. You don't feel great dealing with
So,
them.
no, actually, there's this other word that's similar to hate, which is frustration. And like, it, I guess is a good word for it. Some
Eh,
clinicians get the ick from certain clients. And and then they refer out if they're an ethical clinician. But I don't get the resistance feeling from clients who aren't making progress. I think, and I truly believe in my heart, that everybody's doing the best that they can with the information that they have at the time. And it's not a client's fault if they're not making progress. It's not therapy interfering behaviors. It is an unclinician. So if I'm
Mhm.
not the proper tools to help, then we'll find you somebody who can. And I don't know, that's my perspective on people who hate those borderline clients or those treatment resistant clients. And I use the air quotes because
I was
borderline.
thinking of borderline at that time because there is a lot of hate against that community. And I imagine that seeking help is very challenging when you know walking in that your particular diagnosis comes with a stigma of hate. Yeah.
There are people who will turn away people simply because they call up and say, "Hi, I have a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder." And they say, "I'm sorry, I don't work with that population." What?
This is a great one to note down for a future discussion because I feel like we could go so deep on this because there are a few of those diagnoses that will be outright refused. Um, and is that good practice? Is that best practice? Because on one hand, you don't want to work with someone who doesn't believe in you as a person, as an individual. On the other hand, it's rude and hateful a little bit. I mean, a little bit hateful. Near getting to know the individual. I can say that because I'm not a professional, guys. Um, she is. She's not gonna call people hateful, but I will. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving though. But I like that topic. Let us know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in, or if you have a diagnosis that you think people secretly hate or openly hate and it has prevented you from getting care or prevented you from getting the right kind of care. Okay, so number 6, why the fuck won't you give me advice? I get very frustrated because I talk to my therapist and I say, hey, give me some advice. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to somebody who's running for office. They just really can't tell me what to do.
I won't should on anyone. I mean, I'll should on myself sometimes, and then I try and catch it. And if you can catch it, you can crush it. But in general, I don't tell people what they should do or think or feel. That's up to you.
You heard it here, folks. Don't should on anyone. I like it. I like it. I hate it. Don't get me wrong, but I like it. I would love if the therapist would give advice and also grades. I feel like that would be nice. All right, so let's move on here. Uh, this is an important question. This might be the most important question for me. So prepare yourself. Am I winning therapy?
Yes, you're making an A plus.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be able to sleep at night now. Okay, so no further questions. I am winning therapy. Everybody knows now. We heard
But
it.
that
It's happening.
question, I think you could ask it, like if you're a client and you're wondering if you're
Mm,
doing therapy right, like check in with your clinician and be like, hey, am I winning therapy? And they might ask for a little more clarification. But if you're wondering if you're doing therapy right, check in. You might be
Yeah.
doing it more right than you realize.
See, that's excellent advice. That's excellent advice. I wish there were trophies, but I mean, asking and checking in, it seems like a great way to do it too. It would just be really cool if you finish therapy, like you finish your therapeutic journey and then you get like a big cup. Like, that would be great. Let's see. When you see couples, so this is question 8 for anybody who's following along. When you see couples, do you pick a side?
No.
No, ever? Like I would.
Here's the caveat to that. I would if I were seeing somebody for individual first and then they brought in their spouse, which is why I don't do that. I refer out for couples therapy. If you're seeing me for individual, you can bring your spouse in as like a fly on the wall. If they want to be
Mhm.
present, if they want to be supported, that's fine. But we're not doing couples therapy because I'm already going to be unbiased. I'm like unconsciously biased towards the person who I've built this therapeutic relationship with
Right.
versus this person you just brought in who may or may not be a healthy relationship. I don't know the dynamic yet. Versus if I just start seeing it together, it's totally unbiased. I have no assumptions on either one of them, and I don't pick sides.
Wonderful. Awesome. All right. So let's move it on to number 9, almost done here. And that is, why do we have to have treatment plans when we all know we're just going to be talking?
Going to be talking.
That's all we're going to be doing. We're
Oh,
going to be talking. What we're doing when we come into therapy, we're talking. It's called talk therapy. So why do we have to sit down every however many months? It feels like it happens every time you turn around and go over a treatment plan. But then when I see you after that, we're just talking. We're continuing to yap about life.
if you're not exhausted after therapy, which I imagine most people are, would you say that
Mm.
you've been exhausted after therapy?
Oh, absolutely.
Then you weren't
Absolutely.
just talking.
Mm. Okay.
You're working your ass off.
Tracks.
It's
It
so
tracks.
much more
I
than
guess
just
it's a very
talking.
seamless feeling though, between like you have a treatment plan and then you go in and it does just feel like you're having a conversation or a back and forth.
So the way it was explained to me by my supervisor, shout out to Tracy if you're listening, back in
Tracy.
Kingsville, Texas, she explained to me that
Tracy.
talking therapy was about 60% of the clinical information, the theories, the modalities, implementing the techniques, and 40% being able to carry on a conversation and establish that rapport and bounce ideas off each other and maybe brainstorm. And especially like in a solution focused way, that's one of my perspectives that I come from, figuring out what works and do more of that.
I like it.
That's
I
a
like
Steve
it.
Shazer quote. I didn't come up with that.
And now for our final question coming from my side, and that is, can I wear pajamas? And if I do, will you judge me? To as a disclaimer, most
Yes.
of the time I do meet virtually. But that said, I mean, if you're going into the office even, therapy feels like a part of my self-care, and I don't know if I want to put on real pants.
Yes to both.
You will judge me and I can wear them.
Yes. And
Okay. So
judgment
that's
always
not at all
isn't
terrifying for me or anyone else to hear. Can you elaborate?
judgment isn't always negative. So one of the things that we have to do as clinicians is observe like the physical nature of a person presenting to us. And so if somebody presents somewhat disheveled, so like if their hair is a mess, not if they're not wearing makeup, makeup is not an indication of anything. But if like they're normally very kempt and then they show up unkempt, that's going to be noted in the chart. If you're
What if
normally
I
in
start out, keep the bar on the floor? I start coming to therapy. First time you meet me, in my pajama pants, okay? I keep up with them pajama pants. And then maybe one day I have somewhere to go or something to do and I'm dressed up. Are you going to start judging me when I put my pajama pants back on, just asking for myself?
no, it would be noted that you were dressed up,
Interesting.
dressed
Okay.
professional today, noted job interview or whatever.
I got you. I got you. So, just for everyone following along at home, yes, you can wear your pajamas, but yes, they are judging you.
Not
And
negatively though.
but not all judgment is negative. Not all judgment is negative. Please judge us right now. Please judge us positively or negatively. You can like
Judge
or
our
comment.
matching hair, which I need to
We
redo
do
mine.
match. I like that. I like to tell people I grow it out of my head this way, but as you can see, I do not. Um, all right, that said, this was awesome. I think that we should make the next part a part two because we just cruised right through this. So we'll probably split here
And
and
then the
move
next
on to
time
a
we'll
part
follow up
two.
with the 10 questions that I can't ask my client.